to Honest Car Reviews. My name is Eric and this is the Mercedes E-Class 300DE diesel hybrid. Yeah, Mercedes is doing things quite a bit different. Although there is also a petrol alternative hybrid E-Class with similar specs. But this is the diesel hybrid E-Class. And is this for the businessman that has grown a conscience perhaps? This is not only a hybrid. It's also the facelifted E-Class that was launched quite recently. And with the entire or almost entire Mercedes lineup having received an update, a new generation, facelift, the E-Class stands out. There's no fin lights as in the new S and C-Class. This is the AMG line exterior package. It also has the AMG line interior package as well. The standard one has the grille that goes up. And in the AMG line, this goes down. So it makes the front look much more aggressive. And of course you have a bit larger, lower grille here. Fake vents, but I don't know if you can see it, but there's actually some inlets that goes here. So there are some real aerodynamic here. The E-Class has a certain aura around it. Weight, heft. I mean, it looks big and feels big to drive as well. Mercedes is heading on into the electric market with the EQC and quite recently the EQA, and soon we will have an EQS as well. That one will be a sedan compared to the EQC, that is a SUV crossover, and the EQA, which is definitely a smaller crossover. This is as much of a review of the E-Class as the hybrid engine itself. How do you charge it? Well, here is the cover, and that means that depending on where the charging box is located or the charging pole is located, sometimes there will be a parallel parking charging port, and if it stands here and it's already a parked car here, it means that you won't be able to reach all the way to the back with the charging cable. And if it's the standard drive-in parking space, that is very common. If this is the only available space, there's cars parked here, there's cars parked here, and the charging pole is here, you won't be able to reach and charge it because some of these cables are really short. Of course, if you bring your own, that works, but a lot of public charging places have their own cables and they're really thick to be able to last for a long time because they need to be outside. They're not that flexible and they're not that long. So having it here, not the best solution. Where have Mercedes put the batteries? In the rear. Electrically operated trunk. This battery has 13.5 kilowatt hours, and this implementation takes up 160 liters of cargo space, which means that the entire cargo space here is 480 liters. This is not class leading by any means, and I've seen other competitors having a much better implementation. The Volvo V60 has batteries in a T-wise direction farther in. Mercedes have needed to fit extra wide wheels, so these are 275 in the rear and 245 in the front to be able to fit the batteries, because it is heavy and they need wider tires to hold up for the extra added weight and pressure on the wheels. The entire car with me in it weighs almost 2.2 tons, and that is in large SUV territory. But we need to look at the seating position, because as I spoke about before, the batteries haven't intruded on the rear seats, and oh man, even in large SUVs they can't get even close to this regarding knee space. This is also an optional grey paint because you can see it's a bit metallic, so around 800 euros. Mercedes-Benz illuminated logo. The interior is really nice. It is a bit contemporary because it's not that much different compared to the non-facelifted E-Class. Still 4 round air vents, and actually these are pretty familiar because these look really close to the C-Class air vents. We have the AMG Performance steering wheel, looks great. I personally like the brushed aluminium more, but this looks awesome as well. However, the way that these buttons react lead to some aggression when you try to navigate the newest generation MBUX system. You have to press them in a certain way for the buttons to react. The E-Class stands out because of having no huge display here as in the new C and S class. So both in terms of exterior and interior, it differs quite a lot compared to some other models in Mercedes lineup. The MBUX system is a bit difficult to navigate, but it has some clever and cool features, especially under comfort. So we can go to energizing comfort, refreshment, green blue light, and a cool refreshing breeze that will take you to the ocean. It uses the Mercedes juice perfume and pumps it through the air vents to give you some sort of smell that would take you to the ocean. Pretty cool. And then there's vitality, so it plays some sound and moves the seat to keep you awake. And I mean, some of the music sounds really cheesy, but at least it is a party piece. The Burmeister upgraded sound system, I mean, it sounds amazing. Has a lot of power and grunt. What I don't like about the seats are that they are really huggy, really supportive, and someone that is a bit bigger might have problems sitting in these seats comfortably. The air condition works so and so. I have it to 21 and it blows pretty cool, and I haven't really gotten it to blow warm. Was actually one time that I put it into 27 degrees. Nothing really happened. It still was really cool. So, and also the sound from the air condition, there's a lot of clicks, and even though I believe that Mercedes car is doing what it needs to do to keep everything perfectly cool, smooth, and everything just sounds quite annoying, and I don't really know what's happening underneath all of this. The diesel engine is around 190 horsepower, 400 newton meters. The petrol engine is about 120 horsepower and 440 newton meters. Combined 306 horsepower and 700 newton meters. So the car is pretty fast. Right now I have almost no charge, which means that I only have the diesel power, so to speak. So 2/3 of what the maximum output was. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour time is 6 seconds, and that's quite impressive for a car that weighs 2.2 tons. The claimed range is about 50 kilometers, but tests have shown just about 30, and I haven't been able to test this because I have no charging box at home, no charging availability at work, and this takes fast charging 1.5 hours and slow charge 7 hours. Fitting this into my general life or anyone's general life is a hassle. Of course, if you go shop for a longer period of time, it works. For anything else, you can't charge it without affecting your daily life. That's something that I found is a hassle. That's not a problem for the car. Well, it is a problem because you can't charge it 100% in 5 minutes, and I believe we will get there, but it is a problem in regards with infrastructure, and that is something that I always come back to driving electric cars. The fuel consumption, we can check. We go to EQ, we go to consumption, 6.3 liters per 100 kilometer. I have averaged about 6 liters. That is okay. It's not good in any stretch of the imagination for a hybrid vehicle. I've driven other cars that have averaged much less than this. The general driving experience for the E-Class is of course amazing. This uses contemporary suspension components, so springs, dampers. It doesn't have air suspension, and I believe that the GLC 300e that I drove about a year earlier was more comfortable than the E-Class. I haven't driven them back to back, so don't quote me on that. But on general uneven roads, the suspension is of course soft and really compliant, but it doesn't soak up the bumps the way that I was expecting it to. Pushing it a bit, it feels quite neutral to drive, and the rear comes out a bit, which is really nice. And of course, this is not an AMD performance car. The GPS combined with the cruise control is atrocious. When you drive in a tunnel and there are roads above the tunnel, it thinks that I am on top of the tunnel. So it sets the speed limit to 30 when the speed is actually 70 and panic brakes. And a car behind me that shouts and honks and gives me the finger. The E-Class hybrid is a difficult one. And what I believe is the problem is the estate shape, at least for Mercedes. Being so low, it is difficult to find areas in the car where you can put the battery. And especially in the E-Class, the way the battery has been placed feels very much like an afterthought. Placement that really affects the usability of an estate. There are competitors that have implemented batteries much better, especially the V60 hybrid, which have a T-shape, so it doesn't affect the luggage space that much and doesn't affect the cabin. I believe that hybrids will work in general better for SUVs and crossovers because they're already higher up and there are easier ways to hide the batteries and place them. Even though the E-Class hybrid delivers the Mercedes experience, it doesn't deliver the hybrid experience, and are way better alternatives from competitors. And the general experience of this car, because it is a hybrid, becomes a rather flawed one. And that's my final review for the Mercedes E-Class 300DE. See you next time.